Yeehaw! Saddle up and get ready to ride through the rugged landscapes of the American frontier as we embark on an extraordinary journey into the heart of the Wild West. In this engaging video, we dive into the lives of legendary American cowboys who have become icons of courage, adventure, and indomitable spirit. From daring cattle drives to the thrilling showdowns of the lawless towns, join us as we unveil the real life of an American cowboy, the legend of the Old West. Remember to hit the like button because it helps us a lot. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the notification bell to not miss the upcoming interesting videos. During the mid-19th century, the American cowboy held a significant and revered position that earned him considerable public attention. His occupation was truly exceptional, revolving around horsemanship as he herded cattle, mustering them for branding or selecting prime beef for shipment to distant markets via railroad stations. Success in this job requires several essential qualities: courage, sanity, stamina, adeptness in horsemanship, and mastery of the lariat. Texas cowboys in particular were seasoned frontiersmen, growing up practiced in confronting the most ferocious and warlike Indian raids from a young age. Furthermore, for many years, their area faced menacing incursions by Mexican bandits intent on plundering Texas herds and homes. These historical facts are the epitome of the fascinating story of American cowboys, cementing their place in frontier history. As a result, carrying guns and other deadly weapons was a common custom among these cowboys, a consequence of their widespread dispersal over far-flung territories beyond the protective control of civil law. They are forced to become law unto themselves. While their bravery and dependability make them invaluable on certain missions, it also unleashes dark inclinations in ill-intentioned missions. Mediocre provocations can cause them to shoot down their fellow humans without regret, not unlike how they fired upon wild beasts. But the special characteristics of Texas cowboys qualified them to undertake an important public service. Their bravery, recklessness in the face of danger, their exceptional riding technique, and their mastery of the gun made them an effective force. These cowboys became an effective tool against Indian insurrections and protected the entire range and livestock area of the ranch from Indian invasions and carnage. They naturally evolved into mounted corps of about 1,000 powerful men, serving as scouts, patrolling vast ranges, crossing rivers, and scouring mountain and riverbed refuges in search of livestock. This work proved vital to maintaining security and stability at the border, cementing the cowboys' legendary reputation as guardians of the unspoiled lands they called home. It was only 2 decades ago since it was discovered that between the boundaries of settlements in the Dakotas, Nebraska, and Kansas to the east, the Sierra Nevada, and the coast to the west, an area the size of a part of the United States lies east of the Mississippi River, offering remarkable opportunities to raise and fatten cattle on fertile grounds. These cattle grow independently, finding food, water, and shelter on their own without human intervention. The significance of this discovery even exceeds that of gold in California, silver in Nevada, or oil in Pennsylvania. According to historical data, that discovery began when, early in December 1864, a government trader with a wagon train of supplies drawn by oxen was on his way west to Camp Douglas in the territory of Utah, but upon reaching the Laramie Plain encountered a heavy snowstorm. He was forced to leave his livestock behind, thinking they wouldn't survive, but they were still around the camp, and when the snow melted from the highlands, the hay gave them plenty of forage. By the time spring arrived, these cattle were in even better condition than when they were left to perish months earlier. This fortuitous outcome sparked the idea of herding cattle on the northern ranges. But it was a slow and dangerous business for many years. Popular custom allowed the Indians residing in the reserves to roam freely during the summer on the present range and ranch area, engaging in buffalo hunts, But since cattle were more easily caught than buffalo, they found it beneficial to swoop down, trample, and slaughter at will. In many cases, they brutally massacred entire settlements, mostly inhabited by cattle ranchers. Massacre of General Custer and his team on June 25, 1876, at Little Bighorn, Dakota, near the current location of Fort Custer. To address this issue, the United States government adopted a stricter policy, compelling the Indians to remain on their reservations. Throughout the years, the Army had many bloody encounters with the barbarians. Eventually, the spirit of protest was broken, and Montana, Idaho, and Dakota became safe to put in the cattle business. As the Army's efforts neared completion, the Cowboys rode, tirelessly patrolling the vast area to maintain order. However, even after the Native Americans retreated to the reservations, the herdsmen's peace remained disturbed. Throughout the border's history, horse thieves and cattle thieves have long been a parasitic presence, thriving in such conditions. Within a few years, entire areas of Kansas and Colorado in the south to Montana and Dakota in the north were ravaged by cattle thieves. The vast expanse of the region provided seemingly endless opportunities for their illicit trade. There was a time when it was doubtful who would prosper the most, the herders or the cattle thieves. On large ranges, the livestock of many owners freely intermingled, making it easy for cunning thieves to separate some livestock from the main herd. These rogues would then herd the stolen cattle through the mountains to remote valleys or grazing areas, where they would mark the animals with unique hieroglyphic symbols representing new ownership, marking them with red-hot iron. Recognizing the urgent need to combat this growing threat, cattle associations devised a plan. They organized a detective service consisting of brave and reliable cowherds. These skilled individuals are tasked with surveying the territory to identify offenders in their illegal activities, as well as monitoring rail transit stations for altered marks. Through this method, a significant number of stolen cattle were recovered and many cattle thieves were arrested. When those were later arrested within the limits of effective administration of the law, they were turned over to civil authorities to conduct appropriate legal proceedings. However, when these criminals were caught outside the established county boundaries, administrative justice was extended. The cattlemen and cowboys themselves took on the roles of judges, jurors, witnesses, lawmen, policemen, and executioners. The herdsmen insist that the only and extreme punishment is never imposed unless there is clearest evidence of guilt. Once a guilty verdict was delivered, justice was quickly served. A hasty trial, a sturdy rope, and an unmarked grave ended the proceedings. These measures serve as a stark warning to those who seek to steal livestock, fostering a sense of justice, vigilance among the ranks of border communities. Battles between herdsmen and cattle thieves took place in this rugged land that shaped the history of the Wild West. A significant change has occurred in recent times, greatly reducing cattle theft in the northern ranges. This change was the result of the enactment of laws by many states and territories, requiring all livestock to be branded and registered with the county clerk where each herd's owner resides. The publication of these marks adds transparency to the entire livestock business, instilling the security and orderliness of well-organized commercial endeavors. Initially, cattle rearing in the northern ranges was mainly practiced by settlers with limited resources. As time went on, however, wealthy and astute individuals realized the potential for enormous profits by establishing large herds in the northern ranges, as had been done for many years in Texas and Mexico. With adequate protection and the advantage of railroads to the territories, it became possible to transport cattle to the major cattle markets in Chicago, St. Louis, and Kansas City. Chicago is by far the largest market, facilitating cattle's journey to markets around the world. This strategic development revolutionized the cattle industry in the northern territories, paving the way for a new era of prosperity and commercial success. Texas has long been a fertile breeding ground for cattle, where these animals have little value other than their skins and tallow. 2-year-old steers can be bought in great numbers for very low prices. Moreover, Texas boasted a skilled army of cowboys well acquainted with Indian ways. 3 key elements for success are ready: capital, cattle, and cowboys. Enterprising individuals seized the opportunity and formed the combination. And not long afterward, it became a matter of personal interest with the Indian to remain on his reservation all the year round. Speedily, the Texas steer superseded the buffalo, and the cowboy became the dominant power throughout New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, and the western portions of Dakota, Nebraska, and Kansas. In a significant, brief span of 15 years, the cattle interests enveloped Indian reservations, transforming the mighty Plains monarch into a tranquil and harmonious figure. With effective management, the cattle farm business has achieved considerable success. Many individuals with few means, who have only been in the profession for a few years, have risen to become giants in cattle breeding, with assets up to hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars. Notably, women also ventured into this business, giving themselves the title of Cattle Queen. In 1884, the market value of the surplus product of the entire livestock range and sector reached a staggering $40 million, not counting the consumption in that area. Besides, the added value of livestock in the year is estimated to be quite a lot. Across the region, the cattle business stands as the primary commercial enterprise, its influence radiating to foster various connected trade interests. Notably, this flourishing industry has played a pivotal role in the growth of local commerce, particularly for several transcontinental railroads. The original idea of transcontinental traffic was that it would be confined almost entirely to business. But the North Pacific Railroad's local tonnage in 1884 accounted for 95% of its total, and the Union Pacific Railroad's local tonnage accounted for 43% of its total. Today's cowboy, especially in the northern ranges, exhibits a distinct transformation from the original Texan cowboy, a shift precipitated by new circumstances. The cattle business on the Kansas, Nebraska, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, and Dakota ranges is relatively new, attracting primarily proprietors hailing from states east of the Missouri River and north of the Indian Territory. Within this group of cattle owners are many individuals from a variety of countries, including England, Scotland, France, and Germany, with substantial financial resources at their disposal. Among them, some even hold titles, displaying their extensive involvement in the cattle business. Many of these individuals initially arrived in America as tourists or for buffalo hunting expeditions, yet the allure of the cattle trade captivated them, leading them to become de facto American herdsmen, and some even pursued naturalization. Driven by the romantic spirit and thrill of life on the plains, some in this class actively participated in cowboy duties. The cattle business on the northern ranges now epitomize organization, discipline, and order, reflecting a shift to strictly business-oriented practices. The principles of commerce guide these new undertakings from their inception. As a result, a new class of cowboys was introduced and developed, with Texas serving as the origin of some, bringing their expertise in the cowboy art. However, the majority of them come from other U.S. states and territories, including many graduates from both U.S. and European universities. Many people have temporarily turned to cowboys to get acquainted with the cattle business, with aspirations of personal investment or supporting friends in this lucrative business. This influx of skilled and enterprising people revolutionized the cattle industry in the northern ranges, shaping its present landscape. The life of a cowboy is perpetually filled with excitement and romantic allure. When riding on the trail, his waking hours are spent on the saddle, while at night he rests upon the embrace of Mother Earth. Annually, vast herds of young cattle, ranging from 2,600 to 4,000 in number, make their way from Texas to the northern ranges. Over the past 18 years, this movement has accounted for approximately 4 million head of cattle, amounting to nearly $50 million in value. Each herd is entrusted to a boss, leading a team of 8 to 10 cowboys, a provision wagon, and a cook. Each cowboy was provided with 4 horses, as it was an arduous task. Managing range cattle away from their familiar terrain demands great caution, as they become apprehensive and excitable. Keeping them from being trampled requires carefully handling them. At nightfall, the cowboys tightly herd the cattle together, gathering within an area of about 2 acres. Throughout the night, the Vigilant Cowboys take turns riding around the herd, instilling a sense of security through their watchful presence. The arduous journey from southern Texas to Montana lasts from 4 to 6 months. Similar drives also take place from Oregon and Washington Territory to Wyoming and eastern Montana. Only those with first-hand experience can truly comprehend the challenges inherent in driving a sizable herd of untamed cattle over mountain ranges across desolate lands where food and water may be scarce for miles. This daring expedition is a testament to the resilience and bravery of these cowboys as they navigate through rugged terrains and unpredictable conditions, exemplifying the legendary spirit of the American cowboy. Over time, the cowboys of the American West developed a personal culture of their own, a blend of borderline and Victorian values that even left traces of chivalry. Dangerous work in such isolated conditions also fosters a tradition of conceit and individualism, with the great value of personal honesty expressed in songs and poems. Cowboys often work in all-male environments, especially on cattle ranches, and on the western frontier, men often outnumber women significantly. Some men are attracted to other men. Sometimes in an area where men outnumber women, even social events that are often attended by both sexes are sometimes men, and men can be seen teaming up to dance. Homosexual acts among young unmarried men did occur, but cowboy culture itself was and still is deeply homophobic. Although anti-homosexuality laws were common in the Old West, they were often only selectively enforced. Black cowboys in the American West made up 25% of the cattle industry between the 1860s and 1880s, with an estimated 6,000 to 9,000 workers. Typically ex-slaves or children of former slaves, many blacks were skilled at handling cattle and making their way west towards the end of the Civil War. The traditions of the working cowboy were further etched into the minds of the general public with the development of Wild West shows in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, which showcased and romanticized the life of both cowboys and Native Americans. Please like and share if you find the video content interesting and useful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment below so as not to miss the upcoming interesting videos. Thanks for watching.